What's going on, guys? Jose here, Geeks and Nerd Table. Hope you're ready to talk about The Last of Us, Episode 6. Forewarning, it's going to get serious in here, guys. We're going to talk about abuse, a lot of mental illness stuff, and it's going to get serious. So just forewarn, trigger warning, and let's go. All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jose again, like I said, and I'm not alone. Once again, I got my boy Mike, not 1 cent boat.
Hello there. Yeah, this one definitely hit a lot harder than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. Within the first 5 minutes, definitely. But
Definitely.
We are not alone, and we're going to discuss this a lot more further with our friend, the lovely KJ. How are you today?
What's good, guys? Was definitely a tearjerker this week. Get your tissues out.
Definitely get your tissue out, especially if you're a boomer or Gen X. That would be us, and we lived through a lot of this stuff. So, first off, this episode touched on a lot of topics, and we got a lot of answers too, though. We got answers of what happened the last 5 years between Joel and Ellie, and in the new town of Jackson, and we get to see what happened between Gail, Eugene. A lot of things to talk about. So I don't even know where to start. So much to talk
why
about.
don't we start in Austin, Texas, 1983?
Very good.
I knew you would catch it, Mike.
With baby Joel and Tommy, and I knew immediately it was them. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Instantly knew it was them, and you got Tommy being Joel being the protector. It's what he's done his entire life with Tommy, especially, and then Sarah, and now Ellie. He's been a protector, and he's always wanted to watch out for his brother. And it gets real fast because he's buying weed and he gets caught. And Joe sees that Tommy's buying weed, and instead of beating up Tommy, he beats up the drug dealers, and the cops are caught. So then we see the swordsman appear.
Was it the same dude?
That was the swordsman, dude.
Man.
From Daredevil. Same
I was
character.
trying to picture. I was like, yeah. Oh my god.
So just a little marvel back to our other GNT projects. But yeah, it was a swordsman, and he was there, and he was just he was asking him what happened, what went on, and
well, he's a cop, so I was a little shocked by that.
Yeah, so
right
now we know where the distaste for police come from. Twice now, from his father, and then another cop that shot his daughter.
Right.
So it sets up a pattern for him, and the trauma, and where it all started from.
So Joel tried to take the fall, try to lie to his dad and say, I was the one buying the drugs. Leave Tommy out of it. And he's like, you think I'm stupid? I already know what happened. And he's like, the look that Joel has is like a look of disdain and hatred towards his dad. And he's just like, you're not going to hurt him.
Yeah.
That was
when he said, you're not going to touch him, you're not going to hurt him. So this is where it's going to get a little personal for me, personally.
Yeah.
And for me, in my head was, you're going to get the shit beat out of you right now. You're going to get punched in the face for disrespecting your father, because it's what would have happened to me back then. Back in 85, 86, 87, when I was his age or whatever. If I would have told my dad, you're not going to touch him, and I have a younger brother that I protected, and it wasn't as bad as it probably is going to sound, or maybe it was, and I'm just, still dealing with that crap. But
yeah,
in my head was, this is the moment where you get punched in the jaw. And he does it. His dad just goes to the fridge, gets 2 cans of hot piss. I mean, Budweiser. And he sits him on the table, and
on duty. He's drinking
on
on duty.
duty.
Yep.
Hmm.
But that moment, he stops and he does what probably was never done for his father. No one ever protected his father. His father was abused by his father. Trauma is not, it doesn't just start today. You don't just start hitting your kids because you felt like hitting your kids.
It's
He
generational trauma. It's learned behavior.
exactly. Um
Yeah.
and but he did a good thing in the sense where he stopped and he realized the pain that he was causing his kid. And when he said, "You're not going to hurt him," and he said, "When I was a kid, I stole a chocolate bar, and my dad had me return it to the store."
He was 10. 10.
And he was 10, and he had him take the candy bar back to the store, and he had him apologize. And then when he went to get out the car, his dad just punched him in the face and breaks his jaw. Um, I told Mike earlier on a private conversation out of this, and I'll bring it up because it's my personal story. Um, I've stole candy when I was a kid, probably around the same age.
I think we all
Um,
did.
Yeah.
and I remember Mr. Lee, corner store, 600 Park in North Philadelphia. And my dad forced me to take the candy bar back. And I did anyway because I felt guilty because I
Hmm.
didn't steal it on purpose. I
Mhm.
literally just forgot I had it and walked out with it. Um, so I was told to put it back. My dad wasn't with me. And I didn't get hit for that. But and I haven't had my jaw broken by my father, but I have been hit in for, trying to protect my little brother, and taking the blame for stuff and getting hit for stuff that doesn't deserve that type of stuff. So this episode was touched home a lot, and it was the first 5 minutes. I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna be a good one. But I made it through, and it was good. It was fine. But the father sitting there, and he's dealing with his own trauma that he's never spoken of before. I promise you, that man has never spoken about trauma in his life.
Mhm.
This wasn't trauma, and he tells him everything, and his dad is ashamed and embarrassed because his jaw was broken by his father. So that caused him shame, and he had to deal with that shame. That's not easy to deal with, especially when your whole family knows with it. Um, so
He said everyone knew why. And I felt like when he said that it was like everybody knew I stole a candy bar and that he thought everyone was focusing on he's walking around with a wired jaw shut like he deserved it because he stole the candy bar. Like, no, I think people were looking at it like, wow, like that's straight up abuse. But do you think anyone intervened? Do you think anyone said anything? No.
no,
Because back then, especially when a man wanted to punish his children, you weren't to say anything or do
no,
anything.
you weren't. And he Joel tells him, if you knew what it feels like, why didn't you stop?
Mm,
Like, you knew what this shit felt like. You knew what it felt like to get hit and feel like a disappointment and a piece of shit. And you allowed this shit to continue with your own kids, you know? And
yeah,
it was like, why didn't you break the cycle? And his dad stops him. Like, he deflects from what his son is saying. And he says, and he deflects because he doesn't know. So you can't blame him because he doesn't really know. Therapy wasn't around like it is now for then. And he says, I
doing a
didn't
little
beat,
better.
I didn't beat you the way my father beat me. I didn't break your jaw.
Hmm.
So I'm going to compare my trauma against your trauma. And because I feel that my trauma is more hurtful,
Yeah,
my trauma is bigger to me than your trauma is bigger to you. Who the fuck are you to say your trauma is bigger than my trauma?
right.
You you don't know how people deal with trauma. You don't have a right to say that.
It's still abuse either way.
Exactly.
Exactly.
He said doing
But
a little better than my father did, almost like, well, I'm hitting you a little less than I was hit. So
Yep.
in comparison to my childhood, you shouldn't be complaining because I'm trying. But it's like you shouldn't be taking your fist to your children, period, ever.
He's justifying the actions by saying it's less than I got, so it's better. And he takes almost no accountability for his actions and how it makes the kids feel. And obviously, Tommy was terrified. He was more scared. He's like, when Dad comes home, he's going to hit me. He's going to get the
He said
belt.
he's gonna beat the shit out of me. He said, I
Yeah,
think.
and he
and
goes
yeah,
and he just goes. His dad justifies it,
Hmm.
and
and
he just
that's
goes,
terrible.
"I need you to do better than me." And
Yeah,
that's the message: is do better than me, because
generational.
it trauma, like
It's in your
they say,
genetics.
the circle of life is also a circle of trauma. This whole episode was a circle of trauma and life combined at the same time, because you see birth, life, death. You see the cycle mentally and everything that goes through, and it's just repeating itself because people are not breaking that cycle.
Cycle.
Um,
I think
but no,
Joel did though, because he didn't put his hands on Sarah. They had a
no,
amazing bond.
he broke the cycle.
Hmm.
He broke that cycle with that conversation to Tommy, and he knew he had to protect him, and he's a protector, and that's what he does.
Do you think it would have been the same if he had had a boy?
Oof.
Because I think that's like a line some men don't cross. They don't hit their daughters, which coming from an abusive household as well, I experienced that. But there's some men who won't cross that line, but they'll take it out on their sons, you know?
I think, as a father of three girls and three boys, uh,
Mm,
there's definitely truth to that statement. I don't hit my kids, and that has been a topic of conversation between family members. Uh, but I don't hit my kids. I talk to my kids openly about a lot stuff that my family or my parents would never had a conversation with me
right.
about.
You had the strength and you
Um,
broke the cycle.
yeah, so I'm able to break that cycle.
Or we were raised like, if you don't hit your kids, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
It's
know,
so
like
crazy.
my family members critique my parenting and say, well, you need to beat his ass. Literally use
Yeah.
those words. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. What does that do?
The
But
the words have never left my lips at all. I've never said anything. I've never thought about that with my kid. I didn't get hit much growing up. But I always learned, even before the word generational trauma was a thing, I always was like, you got to do one better than the generation before.
yeah,
And this episode definitely hits hard on that topic.
I
And
will
us,
say, um, I don't want to paint a picture of my father being a bad person. He's not. He's really not. Um, he grew up without a father. He never had example of how to be a father except for the streets. He was raised by the
mm,
streets.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in the ghetto. Like, we lived what people consider the hood. He had five boys he had to keep in line
mm,
from not getting pulled into all that shit. So I understand why he did what he did. And for that, I'm grateful, because I'm where I'm at now because of what he did. So I don't hold ill will towards my father. I love my father very much. And I understand why he did what he did, but I chose a different route with my kids. And that's all.
I think also us being raised by boomers has a huge impact on how we were raised because the way that they are, the way that they move, their mentality, it's so narcissistic, sociopathic. Like there's more, you know, this is totally off topic, but the serial killer era, that was all boomers. You know, like they just are different, bro. They're still different. Like my parents are both boomers, and it's like y'all are a problem, and we as Gen Xers or Zennials, as I like to call us, because me and Mike, we were more raised Gen X than I have more in common with Gen X than millennials for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Being
like a
born,
sweet spot of like 5 years of like you get this nice
yeah,
little zennial age where we didn't have the internet and we still know how to use like rotary windows. But
right. Our
Yeah.
generation, I mean, we've seen it all come and go. We've seen the technology raise, and you know, like so. I think that's also on our side that we have a resilience that this new gen don't have, and the last generation didn't have.
No, we set a different tone, but I think we're the last of a dying breed. I'm just saying. Uh,
Yeah.
but all right, let's move on to happier days. Well, I don't think they get
Well,
much happier. Um, but
I
you want to
commend you
go
both.
ahead,
Like
Mike?
Jose, thank you for sharing your story. Like I commend you like for breaking the trauma. Kelly, same. Like it's not easy, and
Well, we
it's
know
a
what
good
it
thing.
felt like, right? So why would you
Yeah,
want to do that to your
exactly.
child? But also, before we move on, I don't know if anyone caught this, but I felt like when the dad came in and he had those heavy boots on, and you heard his footsteps come down the hallway, and then again when he left, that was very intentional. As someone who's dealt with abuse, you know that feeling when you hear the key in the lock and you hear the footsteps down the hall, like, oh shit, they're home. And it gives
Yeah.
you that dread. I feel like that's what they were trying to bring across as he sat at the table.
KJ, you're 1,000% correct on that one. Because my dad used to always have a lot of keys,
Mm.
and my dad, for some reason, always wore dress slacks and dress shoes and dress shirts every day. He sewed furniture, um, door to door, by the way.
Mm.
But yeah, you hear those keys, and my mom's famous words was, "Wait till your dad gets home,"
Ugh.
and I'm like, "Oh shit." I'm getting one tonight. What can I do? Start washing some dishes, do some laundry. No,
Like it's too
but
late.
but it's too late. Once you say wait till your dad gets home, you knew it was game over. But yeah, it's part of it's what makes us us. It's part of
Yeah.
why we have this thickness of a skin, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't
Survivors.
let people in. Yeah.
We're
So
survivors. Yeah.
yeah,
So we
and
move on to Jackson.
whew,
I'm so excited for this next part.
Dude, we move on to
was
like
it the
Joel
Legos?
bartering in Legos. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like,
Jackson has a bar.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like they
yeah.
had a freaking bar. They're
Shots, shots.
I don't think they got any pit bull playing. But
I hope not.
But we got Joel bartering in Lego. Like, even in the apocalypse, Legos are worth a ton of money.
Legoland still around making business, you
Technically,
know.
Legos are worth a birthday cake.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what he
because
used to get the birthday cake.
he was using it to get the Dremel, so he can carve. He was basically bartering to make her birthday present for her 16th
Mhm.
birthday.
For Eli.
Um, for for Eli.
Well, well, take your minds back to episode 1. What did Joel forget? He didn't get the cake
Oh yeah, for
for
Sarah.
for his own
for Sarah.
birthday.
Oh, was it his
Yeah.
birthday? Yeah.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
was
So
his birthday, but he
he
forgot
finally
the
has a
cake.
chance to make it right.
Yeah, and he
I,
is big
I
cat.
just I just have to say it was so good to see his face. It felt like a
Yeah,
warm Joel hug, and I was like, I've missed you.
yeah. It was very nice to get a Pedro Pascal episode again. Um, but yeah, like you just see the dynamic of when they start in Jackson,
2 months
and
they've been there. 2 months, he said.
yeah, and there's so much love between them, and
And Ellie's happy.
she is, and you
Hold up.
see Joe's working in the workshop
Yeah, he asked him
after
for a
he gets
bone. I was like, why does he
yeah,
want a bone? And he was like, cut a specific piece for the guitar that was missing. Like, dude, this guy has skills.
And then he dremels the moth onto the guitar. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, the perfect touch for her.
Hmm.
That moth comes up later, which I was like, what the hell are you talking about, Joel?
So little details, like this was the entire guitar was made out of love for her, love. Like literally, I was thinking as it show progressed, like this is the first time anyone in her life has shown her real love. Like you could maybe count her best friend back at the camp that she was in, but like he's giving her a father's love, and I just like cherished every second of him tuning it and make sure it was perfect, and then he gets the cake and it's spelt wrong.
But wait, before that, when he gets home from bartering, Tommy's bringing her up the steps and she's high as shit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
She was high walking up them steps,
That was
and
funny.
he goes, "What happens?" I just got close to it and I put my hand on it. I wanted to wear short sleeves again.
She said it was all melty and red and gross, and it smelled like pork.
Or
Oh.
I was like, oh god.
I'll
She did a
never look
good
at sports
little
the
like
same.
high off pain meds little. It was good.
Definitely.
She did good. It was
Yeah,
funny.
he just so oh man. But Joe goes to her after he sees that she's burned and everything, and she goes, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." And he does what any dad would do. He grabs her, wraps her head around his arm, kisses her in the head, and goes, "It's okay.
And
It's
he calls her
okay.
That
You're
kiddo.
that
okay."
was that was so
Yeah,
sweet. That was
Oh,
my
yeah, it was
first
baby
tear up.
girl. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, "That's his daughter." And I was
Yeah.
like, for me personally, I was just like, I keep saying, "Well, that's not his daughter." I was wrong.
Hmm.
That's his daughter. Like,
One
no
thousand
matter
percent.
Yeah.
no matter how you slice that cake, that is his daughter. You
Apparently
know,
she just digs her hands right in, so that was funny
But
too.
like, how many
it's only
birthday
them two.
cakes has Ellie had? Like, does she know to like cut it? I guess maybe.
It was like a smash cake, but like
Yeah.
I thought that was so like childlike,
Hmm.
and her it showed her excitement that she couldn't even wait for him to turn around with the and like the look on his face, first like genuine smile I think I've ever seen from Joel. Like he smiled so big, and she's just like there with the cake in her face, and he's like, wait, I have one more gift.
He gave
It
him
was
a
cute.
guitar, and then he goes, "I promised I will teach you. I promised I teach you." So that's why he builds a guitar. That's a mighty fine instrument there. That's what he
Yeah,
says.
A
but
guitar.
but then
guitar.
she yeah, your guitar, and then she goes, "Play for me. It's my
Sing.
birthday, fucker. Sing." And he starts singing Pearl Jam. But the
Mm,
words that he
the
starts singing,
words. Yeah.
how he goes, "Without you, there is no me."
Aw.
And I was just like, oh, he's singing about how much he loves her and how much she means to him, you know? And she goes, uh, "It wasn't shit."
She said it didn't suck.
Oh, it didn't
Yeah.
suck. Yeah. Oh man, but that was a really good episode, and you see, what they're going through, and then you fast forward to 1 year later.
They show the Aha cassette. Did anyone else catch that?
Yeah, I saw that.
I did not
Um,
Yeah.
catch that.
from the song she sang for Dina.
Hmm. All right, it's on
Uh,
me. Um, for a guy who like is terrible at expressing his emotions, when he was like sitting there trying to pick like what song to play, do you think he was like playing in his head of like, hey, I can just do like a song, or I can play the song that like really means something and like maybe she'll understand?
I think it
I
was
No,
thought
that's
like,
intentional.
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think he
I
had a
agree.
thought like she might ask me to play something. What would I play?
yeah.
You know. Um, I think he shows his love language as acts of service for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's the way he's like. Back in the '90s, when you liked a girl, you made her a CD or a cassette,
Right? A mixtape. A mixtape.
a mixtape. That's how
Yup.
he was expressing his love. He was playing some Stevie B, but he was actually playing Pearl Jam. So if you guys are interested, that was Pearl Jam. Uh, um, And then what happened next
Well,
after
1 year later,
Yeah, we
it's
fast
like
One
forward to
year
so.
1 year
later,
later. They're
So
on
we
like
stick.
her
patrol.
16th birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we stick with her birthdays. This is my favorite one.
yeah.
This was so good. Seeing them in the woods, seeing them like a season one, and then she's like, "I want to go on patrol," and he's like, "Be a kid, be a kid." Like, how many of us have said that to our kids? Like, slow down, stop. Why are you in such a rush to grow up?
Every
Like,
single time.
she's only 16, and then she's trying to guess where he's taking her. Like, he totally misreads the signals between her and Jesse. He's like, "I see you looking at him. Are you into him?" And she's like, "Totally wrong tree. Do you want to know about the birds and the bees?" I mean, it should be the bees and the bees for her at this point, but
Dude, and she totally uses it to her advantage because she's like, I tell you what, I'll never get pregnant if you put me on patrol. And I'm like, ooh,
dun,
slide.
dun,
Yeah,
dun. If only she knew someone was getting pregnant.
Oh my
I won't
goodness.
get pregnant.
Just,
Surprise, Joe. Yeah, I don't think you're good at that whole reading people thing.
yeah, like,
I like,
okay.
oh, she's such a smart ass. She's playing the hell out of him. You don't even realize it.
And then you
So
come through the trees and they see a giant T Rex, which was like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god.
which
Like
she
I
guessed
would
when they
see
were
that today and get
crossing
like
the
that
creek.
excited.
She did. She said dinosaur.
Yeah, she mentioned dinosaur. Oh, maybe it's a dinosaur. And then you see a big metal dinosaur. I wouldn't have climbed that damn thing. I'm sorry.
But it showed her like that's what a kid would want to do.
Hmm.
She's
She
still in
gonna
her
need a tetanus shot.
innocence. Yeah, she's still in her innocent phase at this point in the episode.
Yeah, and he just wants her to be a kid. He wants her to just stay in this moment. And because Sarah died at 12.
Oh
Ellie's
my
already seen
god.
4 more birthdays than Sarah's seen.
She was a grown up 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
She
like
had to be because he was a single father. No
That's
mother in
true.
the picture.
That's true.
he's taking like so much care in these birthdays too. Like it really shows, especially by the time they get to the museum, I
He
think.
probably works on it all year long. Like, it really showed, like, he put so much thought and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into this day for her
Hmm.
to see
She
that
walked,
look.
and that's what a father does for his daughter,
Hmm.
and they walk into the museum, and she starts spinning the thing, and she goes, oh, it's pretty smooth. It's been 20 years. I don't think it got that way by itself. And he goes, yeah,
Yeah.
someone greased it.
Yeah, he's totally like fixing up the place.
And I love that he's not like tooting his own horn, but he's like letting her know, like, I did this for you.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the spaceship, but the whole fact that he gives her the rock, he goes, you need a helmet. And then she just
Yeah.
gives her the rock.
I
Dude,
was
how
like,
cool would
why
that
is
be?
he giving her a rock? And then like he like thought ahead, like let her pick.
Yeah. And like what would Ellie want to do? Smash the window.
If you're 16 years old and your parents say you can smash some windows, are you gonna say no?
Even when they said no, I would smash the windows.
And who
Not
else
surprised, Mike.
this brought me back to the tank scene with Dina where she knew all about the spaceship stuff. Like, that reminded her of Joel then. And we didn't
Yeah.
know about it because it reminded her of this.
Well, also when
And
she
then
was in the car for the first time in the last season, she said like this is what it feels like being in like a spaceship. She has like this fascination with space, and
Yeah. And he knew
and
that.
yeah, he picked up
how
on it.
how beautiful was that scene? When
Okay,
she
so yeah.
goes, she puts on the helmet, she gets in the thing,
Her in the helmet was
and
funny, I'm not gonna lie. But
Yeah.
how did it fit perfect? How did it fit perfect? I'm just saying. That's a kid's helmet.
well,
When
The
she tried
astronauts
on
were
the helmet,
small.
he's like, "What's it smell like?" She's like, "Space and dust." And then she gets in. This was my favorite scene. I was definitely crying. Also, like, I have a 17-year-old and her birthday is this week, and like just the love that he had for her, and then him staring at her while she's pretending, and then giving her the cassette. Like, first of all, where did he get this? But him saying like, "This was really hard to get. Close your eyes and press play." I love this little montage scene that they did with the sun and her picturing going into space. It was so beautifully done.
just picture Joe sitting there watching her play the Walkman, and he's
Yeah.
sitting there and he's just staring at her, and he's admiring her, and he's like so in love that she's like so happy and she's enjoying this, and he's just shaking the chair
Dude, I thought the
so
same
for
thing. I'm like, he's
so
shaking that
she could
chair.
feel like
Oh
she's in
my
a
god,
rocket
I didn't
ship.
even think
Yeah.
about that.
Because
I would 100.
as a
That's
father,
see,
that's
as a
what we're
dad.
doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
As a
I would have
father,
shook that
that's
chair
what we're
too.
doing.
Oh
And
my
he's shaking
god.
that chair, and he's just smiling, and she's just loving it. And
The look he
she
has.
he goes, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Are you kidding me?" And he just, and
He's
there was other words said, but he turns around and you can see the tears
yeah,
just
the
coming down his
tear.
eyes.
That's all he
And
wants her
that's,
to feel special.
Hmm.
he's just trying to be there for his daughter and make her day the best day. And for me and Mike, we know Mike has his little girl. I got my three little
Mhm.
girls, although one's 20. She's still my little girl. Uh,
Always.
um, that's all we want as a
Yeah,
father.
dude.
That's
There's nothing like making your daughter like smile. As a dad, there's nothing like it in the world.
He's a
no,
real dad, and you guys know the difference between dad and father.
yeah.
Joel is a real dad to her. And like I said, she's never been shown this kind of love before in her life.
He will do
And
anything for that little girl.
I was
Anything whatsoever.
crying after this. I like had to pause it and take a minute. It was
Yeah.
I got so emotional because my own kids and it was beautifully done.
Also,
He,
the fact that it was like her 16th birthday, and like, what do you do for girls for their? You do like a sweet 16, big blowout birthday, and obviously he can't quite do that in the apocalypse. But the fact he saved like this big, huge setup, perfect day for her.
That was better than a Sweet 16 party,
Right,
brother.
exactly.
it was so personal. It was so
Mhm.
personal. It was perfect for her. Like he had probably been planning that for the entire year.
Yeah.
He probably still got her a cake that we didn't get to see. And
Yeah.
It probably was spelt right.
Yeah. But then they leave, and I think that's the moment everything changes for Ellie, because she stops and we're all looking at the TV like, what the hell's going on? What's she staring at? And I'm thinking it's a clicker or something, and they're about to go
Mhm.
to war, and then she sees the fireflies.
oh, I didn't even connect that. That it
Those were
was she saw
fireflies.
the
Yep,
fireflies connected. She wants to ask him
Yeah.
what
exactly.
happened.
Which takes us to beginning of her 17th birthday in the next scene.
And I wrote, and
What
it begins, dun dun dun. Like
and the
as someone who has a 17-year-old, like all of it, he's like, really? All the teenage stuff at once? I like, yep, it happens like one day they're your best friend, and the next day they're like, I hate you.
yeah, she saw the fire, and like I was like, damn, that just triggered it back, and that's gonna make her start thinking of what happened. And we go right to 17th birthday, 2 years later. No,
One
1
year,
year
Yeah, it
one
was
later,
one
year.
year
and
later.
it's her
He,
17th birthday,
he brings the
and she
chocolate cake in.
and she
Here's
sits
some
in the garage
some
asking the questions.
She was with that
Oh,
old
no, no, no,
head.
no, no. Yeah,
yeah.
she was with the,
She
that's when he was walking in with the chocolate cake. You're
and he
right.
heard some tomfoolery in there.
Tomfoolery.
Who thought it was
Wow.
gonna be? I thought it was gonna be Dina.
I was thinking because I was like, who else could it be? But like, it kind of makes sense that there would be like kind of a
No,
chomo out
so I
there.
don't know if you guys caught it, but back when the episode where it was snowing and Dina and Ellie went with the patrol and found the bear and then the smart
Mhm.
one, they were talking and she was like, well, you were with what's her face, the chick that was supposed to be the captain. And I was like, this lady looks 30 years old. What's she doing messing with a 16-year-old? And he literally said that. He's like, she's 16. And he's like, 19. Bitch, no,
Yeah.
you're not. The actress is 35. Get out of here. No way.
But
And yeah,
yeah,
she gathers her stuff and yeah, she's doing it all. She's smoking,
Tattoo
fooling
gun.
around, and the tattoo gun
Tattoo
all at the
girl,
gun.
same
She
time.
picked.
but he goes, all this shit at once,
Yeah.
drugs, tats, sex, and experimenting.
Sex,
She
drugs, and rock
goes,
and roll, baby.
it wasn't sex, and I wasn't fucking experimenting.
Oof.
Mm.
And I was like,
All right.
ooh,
And he's
she
not
put her
okay with
foot
it.
down.
Joel
Yeah,
is
he's like,
not okay with
what?
it.
But
I mean, come
He
on,
straight
it's the
says like
apocalypse.
he's just like,
yeah,
I'll talk to you when you're yourself again. And I'm like, ouch.
But I feel like every parent goes through that where you're like, no, Jose, you feel me because you have older kids.
yeah,
Like you just like you don't recognize them. You're like they're overnight they're becoming adults and they want to
yeah,
live their own lives and they want to do their own things. They don't want to ask permission. You're just like, where did my kid go? I feel like
yeah,
that's more what he was dealing with than like being not okay with the gay thing. I don't think that's what it was, but
yeah.
he was just
I
shocked that she's like doing all this at once.
I definitely think it's a mix of both.
Mm.
Um, I think it's because he's from a in this show he's a boomer. At least that's the way I'm taking it. And
It all
Yeah,
comes back to the boomers again.
they
that was
ruined
not
everything.
okay when we were kids.
Oh,
Like
That's
definitely.
right.
we've come so far
Hmm.
um from when we're growing up, and someone is saying they'll beat that out of you,
Right.
Hmm.
Gay
to you,
conversion.
and
Yep.
then you grow up and you have a kid of your own. My son, you know he is bisexual,
Mm.
and he came out to me at 16, 15
Wow.
going on 16, before anyone. I was probably the second person he came out to. His cousin was the first. um and I know how hard that was for him, and he came up to me crying, and
Mm.
I understand why he came crying. I understand as a father what type of presence I give off of being
Hmm.
a hard ass.
Hmm.
I get that. And he came to me and I was like, "You're my son. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
that's the
Like,
perfect answer.
you are my boy.
Hmm.
Like, I don't care what that is. You're my son. You're my Alex for the rest of your life. I will hold you right now. You're 6'2", and I'll carry you like a baby, you know. But and it's so different, what was then to what is now. And for him, he is like, shit, I'm a single father of a teenage girl who's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but I'm not comfortable with the whole sexuality part of this because she is a girl and she doesn't have a mother to speak to about this. And I am a single father and I feel uncomfortable talking about sex to my daughter, about the do's and don'ts and everything like that. It's very uncomfortable. I've had these conversations with both my daughters. Trust me, it's uncomfortable.
Hmm. Has she
Um,
really come out to anybody? Has she actually come out as gay, or she just kind of
I,
just does things, and you're like, oh,
I, that
Yeah, I
was
think
her
she
coming
just
out
kind of.
party. I think that was
mm.
Yeah.
her coming out party.
She's like, what are you doing here? You were supposed to be on patrol. He's like, says every
I
teenager
came from work.
ever. You were supposed to
Yeah.
be at work. I was gonna clean this up. I swear.
But that
Mm.
leads to yeah, what? It's like midnight, it's thunder and lightning, pouring rain, and Ellie's trying to take her bed down to the garage in the pouring rain. And
Yeah.
Joe
This,
comes up to her.
yeah.
Well,
He's like, it's what are you doing? It's the middle of the night. And
wha-
she said, and he uses the. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
no. As she's like gathering her stuff, there's like a blink and you miss it thing. She has the pictures of all the moths, but it says
Yep.
like you have to have a greater purpose or something like that. Do I have a greater purpose? And so obviously the idea is festering in her head.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So he uses the line that I think all of us have. Well, Mike, you might not have used it yet. Your daughter's still young. This is my house.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And he's right. It is his house. He should be allowed to make boundaries and rules
Hmm.
in that house. And she
She
fought
shits
against
on his
that. She
parade.
yeah, she's like, no, you don't own it. They gave it to you. Like,
Yeah, whether he
bitch, this
owns it
is
or
my
not.
house. Okay. And sit your ass down and go back to bed. Like, you're 17. You're not 30. But um then he goes, maybe it's better if you have your own space. And that was the start
Yeah.
But
of
she
the
does
distance.
apologize. Ellie does care. Like, this is a side of Ellie that we haven't seen. She's showing that she loves Joel. She cares for Joel. She respects Joel. because she apologizes,
But she said, I'm not sorry.
but I'm not sorry. You
Yeah.
know, and I do get it. Like she's sorry that you found out this way, but I'm not sorry because I'm still experimenting and I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure myself out because I'm a kid. I'm 17.
Right. It's
I don't
totally
have all the
normal
answers.
teenager
Ex-
behavior, what she's doing. Yeah.
exactly. Um, what happens next?
And then he
And then
says, let me fix it up for you. Like, of course, he's going to go in there and make it perfect. And she's not going to want to leave.
acts of
And
service.
then we see the, okay, well, he goes to see Gail first and the little
No,
shop.
he says before that, before he goes see Gail in the shop, he goes, "What's up with you and that moth thing? Is it like
Oh, yeah.
and he describes
He,
a butterfly being into a cocoon and reemerging as something better and something beautiful and growing and becoming full as a person
Yeah, change.
and
he gives like the
change."
most basic dad answer of like all of it. I'm like,
It's
he's
like
like, oh yeah,
change and growth.
it's about change and growth, and I'm like, oh.
And she's like, not really. Okay. You
Doesn't
tried.
mean any of that stuff, Joel. None of that.
But he goes out
So
of his way to go get an answer about that, which I thought was like also effort to try to understand his daughter.
yeah.
He's like, let me go bother Gail while she obviously doesn't want to be bothered. And she's like, what the fuck? Do I have a Dr. N sign posted somewhere?
Is there a is is there a sign on me like Lucy from fucking Peanuts?
So happy to see Gail too. Oh my God.
Yeah.
She is so funny, but she goes, yeah, those are the fucking dumb doctors that can't make it, and so they have like this crazy idea about dreams and stuff like that. And she explains, no, moths mean death.
Mm-hmm. Sounds of the
And
Lambs. Anybody?
yeah,
The poster. That's on my nightmares.
Oof.
put the lotion in the basket.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Oh man, but yeah, and he has no clue, and then he just stands up and walks the hell away, and Gail's looking at him
You're
like
welcome.
Joe's an asshole.
Oh yeah. Which kind of like starts probably like the little bit of the fire of like what is going on between him and Ellie. What
Oh
is
yeah,
it?
the next phase
Yeah,
really says it all.
Mhm.
it's
Really,
2 years later.
it's gonna be
And
a lot to unpack. We just skip 18. 18 don't matter,
yeah,
and we go
it was
right to
just
19.
typical teenage years. She graduates high school and all that good stuff. Uh, and
And
then
we
we go
start
2 years
with
later. It's
her
19.
we start with her sitting alone in the garage, and she's pulls out the list of things about Salt Lake City that she wants to ask that obviously have been bothering her for years. And it's, like,
Years.
how did they spot us from like a mile away and know we
Yeah,
were coming but not notice any raiders? If there were so many raiders, how did you carry me out of there? And like, she has all
Yeah,
these legitimately good questions.
it
yeah.
never added up.
She's been sitting on this for quite some time.
Mhm.
Definitely been sitting on this for quite some time, and she's getting ready to, I guess, warm up and ask Joe all the questions. And there's a knock on the door, and there's Joe. Like, all right, you wanted to learn how to be in patrol, and I told you be patient.
She
Time
waited
to
three
go on patrol.
years. She
Yeah,
waited
Yeah.
she
3 years. He said, yeah, I was like, wow. I thought she'd be pestering every day. Um,
Joe was trying to teach her patience,
yeah, she's trying to psych herself up.
and then he takes her on patrol, and of course, he takes her on the safest trail.
Mhm.
And Ellie's not happy.
As a dad would.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he's
We go on the
she's
baby
got to
roller
learn the
coasters
rope.
first, okay?
You got it. You got it. He wants her to use the binoculars. He wants her to do all the steps, get into all the habits, and be safe. But he's also like, "Hey, this is really nice. This feels like old times."
Hold on, Mike. Hold on, Mike. There's a squirrel fucking another squirrel over there.
Is it a big one?
It's a big one.
Oh, you better write that down.
Oh my god.
But
That
he's like reminiscing, and like 2 minutes
that really
earlier
hit.
in the show, like she's like, the divide is there, and she's doing her best to like hide it, and Joel has no idea.
No,
Yeah,
he
and
doesn't have a
that hit
clue.
too, because he just
Mhm.
wants to connect with her. He wants that bond that they had back, and obviously she's been holding on to these questions for years, which you could argue maybe she should have brought it to him sooner, but it obviously caused a bit of a pullback on her end, and also the teenage stuff as well. And like that made me tear up when he was like, "We should do this more often," because Jose, I don't know if you know, like when you're teenagers, they're like, "Bye, see you in 3 years," and you're like, I miss my kids," you know. It was like that vibe. And then she got that look, and he read the look that something's
Yeah,
going on, that she's thinking about something.
he definitely knew something was going on, and she's just like, she says the squirrel comment, and he says about hanging out together, and she tells Joe, I'm not a fucking kid. I don't know why I just stopped cursing, but like,
She
I'm
said,
not
"I'm
a
not
fuck,
your kid."
Yeah, I'm not your
yeah,
kid.
I'm
I'm your
not your
partner.
fucking kid. Dude, how bad does that suck? Like,
That
Right.
hurt.
I
Ooh.
get what she's saying, that like right now I'm your partner and I'm not your kid, which she's legitimately right, but you're still his kid.
Like she said, "I'm not your kid. I'm your partner." And now she's been doing this since the beginning of this first season. Like, so we know that Joel looks at Ellie as 1000% his ward, his daughter, someone he has to protect. But Ellie just wants to be looked at as his equal, and she's not. But I don't know if that's just a teenage thing, but like, I don't know, does she look at him as her dad, or does she look at him as like someone she's looking up to, that she wants his respect? Like, it's like a different paradigm between the two of them.
It's
Picking the
probably what
parts that
works
she
best for
wants.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
What?
picking what.
It.
Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Mike.
Jose. No, you go for it. You got it.
Yeah, she's picking and choosing. She whatever fits her narrative is
Mm,
what she's choosing for that moment. So she loves
gotcha.
Joe and she respects Joe, and she has not brought up the question to Joe because she fears him. The fear, it's the wrong word to say, but like there's a fear that a daughter has for a father, like an intimidation, because they're scared to open up to their dad. Um, that she's struggling with, and that's why she hasn't asked the questions yet.
Well,
Is she
much
afraid of
like
his
Joel,
answer?
Ellie. Yeah, Ellie's not really good at expressing herself either.
No, they're the same exact person.
They're both opportunistic too. Like, she's, like you
Yeah,
said, she plays both sides. I'm daughter when I want to be, and I'm your equal when I want to be. But he just sees her
exactly,
as my daughter, like, period.
exactly. And he does. He's been raising her for 4 or 5 years now at this point, and then they get the call on the radio, and Eugene and the other lady are getting attacked by clickers, and he's telling her, "You need to go back." And she's like, "Hell no, I'm your partner. I'm going with you. I have your back. You have my back."
Yeah, he asks her. He's like, "What do we do?" And she says, you are I'm your back and you are mine." And
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I
I
thought
like
that
that.
was like the sweetest, most sincere thing to like say in a world like that, and to like really know that that person is your
Has your
back.
back.
And you, yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Oh, love. So
yeah.
that shot on the cliff though was stunning, where they came up
Yeah.
with the horses, and I'm like, oh, I love the environments in this show.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah.
talked about enough. Like almost every
It's
episode there's like what I would call like a screensaver moment where
yeah,
like you could just like take a screen capture and like throw that up on a computer, and it's
And
beautiful.
the
we
environments are
definitely
their
get
own character.
Hmm.
one like 3 minutes later too. So
Yeah,
look at the
yikes.
roses.
Yeah.
But
Oh, you
Come on,
went
old Yeller.
there. Yeah. Oh,
look
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 at
at
the
the
roses.
roses.
You
Dude.
crazy
So
little
Damn
psycho.
you, Gemma. Oh, and Gemma too, both of them. Different show, sorry. Uh,
Oh,
but
The
yeah,
Walking Dead, you guys. That was a Walking Dead reference, if
no,
anyone's
definitely.
wondering.
Yep.
they did the same thing in Sons of Anarchy as paying tribute to that show. The Walking Dead.
Really?
Jax kills
No
Gemma, his
way.
mom. She's looking at the flowers literally a week later after the one where
Oh, dude.
Carol shoots the little girl in
Carol.
the back of the head.
Carol, true MVP of The Walking Dead. Carol.
When they killed, it
Fight
still
me.
hurts when they killed like Opie and Sons of Anarchy. That was devastating.
All right, let's bring it back.
Just reel it in, guys.
Yeah. So
Next
they
podcast recap of The Walking Dead and Sons of
Sons of
Anarchy.
Anarchy. So
I'm fucking there. I'm fucking there.
they just drop it. They're like, it's Eugene, and I'm like the gears turn in my head, and like they stop, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the moment. This has to be the
Yep.
moment.
Well, who was on the horse that got dragged away that no one cared to stop the horse?
The girl
That-
partner that was
They were
on the
like,
radio.
see ya.
And then you see the mushroom lady, the clicker with all the mushrooms going on
Yeah.
her.
I'm like, you
At
guys
least
couldn't
top.
handle one infected? Like, come on.
Dude, they were high as kites. All right, it's Eugene. they
were-
stopped at 7-Eleven.
They were making a 7-Eleven run.
Dude, I forgot all about that was Eugene's spot.
Yup.
Eugene and Gail,
Eugene
the
should have
drug
survived the
dealers.
apocalypse.
the drug dealer cartel of Jackson. Was
How many
Eugene and
Legos
Gail.
does it take to get a dime bag?
Oh my God.
Way,
Oh,
way too much.
shit.
Way too much. But yeah, Ellie is shook. She hears a gunfire. They keep walking, and they see poor Eugene at the tree, all bit up. And we all know, I don't remember the actor's name, but I know he's very famous.
Yeah, what do you guys know him from? Come on.
I-
Okay. Bad boys, what you gonna
Yeah,
do?
that's what I was thinking.
Okay. He's
Bad
the
Boys.
captain or
Sergeant.
lieutenant in the Bad Boy
Yeah.
movies where he's like,
Oh, really?
"Woosah,
Yeah.
woosah."
With
And
Mike
he's also
Sam.
he's in Bound, which is an underrated hot ass gay film from the 90s. If y'all haven't seen it,
yet. I have not
check
seen
it
yet.
out.
I have not.
Gina
Is it better
Gerson,
than-
Gina Gerson, and the chick who plays Chucky's bride. What is her name? Tiffany something.
with the
Oh,
black hair.
I know that movie. I did see that. With
Okay,
the two
yeah.
girls. Yeah.
Yes,
I know what movie you're talking about.
it's
The
hot.
girl with the weird shaped lips. Never mind.
They weren't weird. They weren't weird to me. They weren't weird to me.
But
He's like, I'm
yeah.
bit, you guys. I'm bit, and he didn't even have to show them, but I guess they would have checked him. But
Yeah, definitely. And
Dude,
Joel
Joe was
goes
ready to
right
shoot
into like destroy mode. Like he can't come back. It's against the rules.
like,
Really,
why?
Joel.
Who made that
I-
rule?
So I took that as why he wanted to kill him instantly. Besides the rules, he wanted to protect her.
She's
He-
immune.
But she's immune.
I guess so, but that's still his daughter, and it
I
still
thought
puts her
that
in
too, though.
jeopardy.
I thought that too,
Yeah.
but it's just
I
one
forgot
guy.
that she was. Well, if I forgot that she was immune for a second, I'm sure he did as a father and was just
Yeah,
trying to protect her.
I
'Cause
thought
I
he was
forgot she was immune.
he was a bit aggressive right off the top. He pulled
Oh,
the
yeah.
gun on him. Like he just got bit. It just happened. It's not like it's been hours. And he immediately asked, like, please take me to the gate. We'll keep a safe distance. I just want to see my wife. Please let me say goodbye to my wife. It was heartbreaking. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the end. Like I could just see it. Like he's not going to let him go say goodbye. And if it was him, if it was Tommy, if it was Ellie, if it was someone Joel cared about, he would have done it. And I think that what you see later on is the difference in the
Yeah.
decisions he makes.
I definitely believe that there's truth to what Ellie said, where he's selfish and he
Mhm.
picks and choose when to be one way, whenever it fits his motive or
Yeah.
narrative, just like Ellie. Same
If he
exact
cares
thing.
about you, he'll give you, you know, he would have allowed it. But then
Ellie tried to show so much compassion,
she
and
did.
she was like, and it takes you right back to the first episode where Ellie's doing the test. Stick your hand out, count to 10, and she goes, put up a finger, and she gives them the middle finger when they were testing her to see if she was turning for like 10 days.
That's right.
Yeah, because
And-
like shows like the cognitive like functions. It shows like he's not shit. Yeah, it's a really good
Yeah.
test.
And then she goes, he has at least an hour. He's not
Yeah.
shaken. He can count to 1 to 10.
She's like, let him say
And
goodbye to his fucking wife, Joel.
Mhm.
yeah.
No
And
heart.
for a
Joel
second,
agrees
Joe agrees.
and
And
sends
for
her
that
off.
second, he sends her off. And as soon as she turned around
She
and
knew.
looked at him, she knew. That
Yep.
was the same exact look he gave her when he promised her and said that what happened at Salt Lake City.
Yeah, when she
Yeah.
she
And it was
says
the
like she
same
makes him
exact look.
promise, and he's like, "Was it?
He
I
said he
swear or I
said
promise."
he said
Oh, did
I
he say?
promised to get her
Oh.
to
Yeah.
go. If I was her, I would have been like, nah, you go get the horses. I'm gonna stay here with him because she knew he was gonna kill him. But she
Yeah.
listened. I mean, she listened to him. And then they
Yeah.
go off in a totally opposite direction.
And the guy's starting to show some
Signs, symptoms.
yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Of he's like, cordyceps gets cold, and then he gets to the point,
Yeah.
and he's like, which way do I go?
Yeah,
And
why did you say that, dude? He already wanted to kill you.
right?
And now you're
Yeah,
saying that
it's
you're feeling extra symptoms. You're like, ew.
yeah, no, that's no good.
Yeah. I
So
thought that was a
maybe
clue though, because that's the first time we get a clue into what the cordyceps do and how they make you feel.
Mm,
Like they've never expressed like when you get bit, what happens. Like in The Walking Dead,
yeah.
they would show like a glimpse of like flashes in your head and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And this is the first time we get where he goes, it makes you cold. So I
You
thought
think
that was an
you,
interesting pick.
you think that they would have like taken someone who's been bit and like quarantined them and watched and saw like how it progressed, how much time do you have? Like in The Walking Dead, do you it could be anywhere from like minutes to hours. And they
Yeah.
knew
But
that. But like
they did because Ellie knew he only had an hour before he turned. And I'm like, just tie his damn hands up.
oh, they
And
do tell you in episode 1, they had a sign in the camp that said, if you're bit on the arm, you have this long. If you're bit on the leg, you have this arm. If you bit on the neck or near the head, you have like 30 minutes,
I don't,
That
I
makes. I
don't
guess it's
know
how
that,
fast
but
it like
that's
gets to
pretty
your
cool.
bloodstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, how
Or
close
how
it is
fast
to
it
your
reaches your
heart.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's
Okay.
pretty
like
cool.
at the very least, like you don't say this stuff to like T100 Joel, like the Terminator. Like it's a bad
Yeah.
idea.
He's like, which way? Left would have been probably to Ellie. And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm cold. Which way? Right, motherfucker. Yeah.
And
Dude,
he
he
takes
marches him out there like old Yeller.
Oh my God.
Don't
at
don't
least
Yeah.
turn
gave him a nice
around.
sight. Dude, but that was so like for Eugene, how hard does that have to be? He just wants comfort. He just wants
Yeah.
to see his wife. He goes, I need her last words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He goes,
that
I
that
need
broke my
her
heart.
last words. I'm dying. I'm terrified. I don't need of you. I need to see Gail. Let her be the last thing I see.
I
Like,
don't
That was
think I've ever
beautiful.
heard anyone say that. Like
He really loves
nothing
his
immediate
wife.
like I can ever
yeah.
think of. It's always like, give them my last words. And that's Joel's thing. I'll tell her. And this dude's like, no, I just need to see her. I just
I
need to
need to
hear what
hear her last words. That
Yeah.
was so
He wants to
beautiful.
hear that she loves him.
mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah.
like he forgives her for anything that might have happened, that he loved her, that he enjoyed spending all his life with her, and
40
he
years,
wished
40 years, you guys,
yeah
40 years of marriage.
he wished it could have went a different way, but he was bit, you know and
Joel says, if you love someone, you can always see their face. And so the guy's like,
Mr.
okay,
Hypocrite.
he's not taking me back. And then you see the camera pan. So like I'm watching Joel the whole time. Like he's gonna fucking shoot this guy. And then you see the camera pans where you can't see Joel anymore and it's just Eugene's face. And then you focus on him and you could see the moment. It's such a great actor where he sees his wife's face in his head. Because you can see that
Mhm.
little sparkle in his eye. And then he's like, I can see her. And then we see the birds. I'm glad that they didn't show it. I'm glad that it was
Yeah.
off
so
camera.
let me ask you a question. Am I the only one that when they did that, it like made the gunshot sound in my own head?
I was waiting
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I
because you
was
just
totally
see the
waiting for it.
birds.
And you see the birds, and it was like
Joel's
so
such
like
a hypocrite. Like
yeah
you can't fix Joel.
Yeah,
And
let's
it's
unpack this.
like you can't. The fact that the guy, he tells this guy, you can see the people you love, like in your in. Why didn't Joel do that with Ellie? He had that time with
right.
her. They had, and he couldn't let go. And now he's imposing his will again. What's better for him? And he took this guy out. And the fact that Ellie was like right around the corner is even more shocking because that's exactly when it all clicked for her.
Why did you promise?
Mm-hmm.
You're a liar now. She knows you're not a man of your word. She saw the facial expression. It was cruel. It was cruel. He didn't have to do that. This is a
Mm-hmm.
man that's in a community that they've been a part of for years. There was
And like
time.
they
There
have
was
the rope
definitely
and stuff
time.
to tie him up. They
Yeah,
tied him up and like drug his body. They could have tied him up, threw him on a horse. Ellie could have rode on the horse of Joel, and they could
right.
have pulled that horse behind him.
I
It would
thought
have
the
been
same
fine.
thing. So now we understand why when he was sitting in Gail's house, in Eugene's house, on Eugene's couch, complaining about Ellie to this woman whose birthday, she just spent her first birthday without her husband in 40 years, for her to say, it's not that you killed him, it's how you did it.
And
I
it's the
hate you.
lie.
I
It's the
hate you for
lie.
how you did it. You didn't. Yeah, so then we
Ellie,
see Ellie's face when she sees Eugene. She's
Mm-hmm.
she's just
broken
crying.
because it's
She just
so unnecessary.
he just
It's
walks up to her. He goes, "I'm sorry,"
I hate
and
when
that's
people
all
that
she
do
says.
bad shit just say, I'm sorry.
and he
Like,
tells
it
her to lie
doesn't.
about it.
It doesn't fix anything.
No, it doesn't. If you
She
were
gave him the
sorry, you wouldn't
silent
have done it.
treatment. She gave him the silent treatment all the way back to Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And he's
And when
like,
they get there, and Gail's there with Tommy, and Joel's like, "Yeah, he got bit. He said he loved you. He wanted to tell you he loved you, and he's sorry. And he took his own life. He wanted to. He was tough to the very end, trying to give him a hero's death.
yeah, he was
Yeah.
brave. He wasn't afraid. Like,
Yeah,
she knows her husband. Okay.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
knows him.
And then, but she believed it because
Well,
she's mourning. She hasn't had time to think of it or to
It's
make
what
sense of it.
someone would want to hear. But I don't know why he didn't even want to claim that he killed him. It was like, it was suicide. He
because he
killed
knew it was
himself.
wrong. He knew it was
Because he
wrong.
knew it was wrong.
And the fact that like he
And
gave her, as he told Ellie, all the information she needed to know, which is exactly what he did to her. He lied.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's the same exact thing that happened,
Nice.
and
Nice catch.
it
yeah,
just completely shatters her heart. It was really, really sad.
And then Ellie
yeah,
opens her mouth and says, that's not what happened.
dude, she put his ass on
Mhm.
blast. She goes, "That's not what happened. He
I was
had
so
time.
happy.
He had an hour. He wasn't shaken. Joe just shot him. He just
She said,
killed him."
he was begging to come to see you, to say goodbye.
And he, like,
Yep. And his face dropped like, you just sold me out. No. And she says, you promised. You swore.
yeah,
And walks off. And she's like, Gail, oh my God, it broke my heart. She was like, please get away from me. Please leave. Like, let me mourn over my dead husband now. Go. I would have attacked him.
Yeah, like to go from like those emotions to like pure rage and hate.
in an instant.
Mhm. Thank God Ellie
Like,
called him out.
yeah, she lost her husband, and then 9 months later,
Wait, so who else do we think knows about that? Because Tommy knows, she knows. Do you think Gail kept that to herself, or did she tell everybody that Joel lied?
I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
because they don't show anything. Like, I would think she didn't say anything because the town doesn't hate Joel.
Mm-hmm.
The town doesn't
Yeah.
hate Joel. So I
Yeah.
would think that if that got out, yeah, Joe, the community would probably ban Joel. They'd
Mm.
probably kick him the hell out of that because
Yeah.
The
it just shows no mercy and no compassion
the
whatsoever.
people Eugene supply are probably really pissed off at him though. Everyone who goes to that 7-Eleven are probably really
Yeah.
mad.
Gail mad as hell too. This lady's been having like quality A Kush this whole time, and now
You know,
she's dealing with the burnt leftovers of
scraps.
whatever. Yeah, the shake weed.
It's probably infected with the mushrooms and everything. You
And
know,
she's like, God damn, do I miss Eugene? But damn, I miss that herb that he used to cook up. Come on.
that broccoli.
Yeah, the greens, you guys, the greens.
That's right. That broccoli, delicious. But yeah. And
Yep,
then
we
nine
cut to
months
9 months
later,
later.
and it's New Year's Eve, the barn,
All from different angles. We pick up at the table with Joel, Tommy, his
and
wife,
his
and their
wife.
kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're just Tommy's taking the little one to thing. Joe's just he's just staring at Ellie and Dina, and he knows he messed up. Like he knows he just wants to fix his relationship with his daughter,
Mm,
and there's nothing he could do. And he's trying to protect her, and he sees her. Well, Joe, what did they call him? Uncle
grumpy.
Grumpy, Uncle Grumpy, and then
Yeah.
she tells him, she goes, you know, we're grateful for you. We're grateful for you in this community. And then we go right to the beginning of this season where what's the dude's name? The drunk dude that calls them out of their names.
I don't know his name. I couldn't remember either.
I can't
Um,
remember. Seth or something like that. But yeah, we jump right into that scene, and you know, we know what happens in that scene. They push, Joe gets yelled at by thing, but then we cut to where we stopped that episode before Joel's death was she's at the looking at him on the porch, and that was the end. And
yeah.
this picks up right then and there where she walks up to the porch, and we see what happens.
Well, he's playing the guitar he made too. He's got the one with the moth cut out on it, and
Yeah.
that just shows like how sentimental and how much he knew he messed up, and how much he wanted to go back to a better time.
But he was sitting out there waiting for her. But did he apologize? Has he tried to initiate reconciliation over these 9 months? She's been holding this anger, and I feel like she's actually doing a good job at processing this. I mean, obviously, she's been avoiding him, as Jesse said, but she comes up on the porch and he's drinking. Okay, so here we get the first reference to coffee. She's like, "What are you drinking?" "I'm drinking coffee. I'm ashamed at what I traded for it." I wonder what he traded.
Yeah. He
Um,
goes, and that's when
she says, "You're such an asshole,"
yeah,
Mhm.
and I have it written out. I don't know if you guys want me to read it.
go
Well,
for it.
before you read that, I want to say like
Yeah,
Joel hasn't apologized, but Joel is completely falling apart.
yeah,
The Tommy's wife says like, "Hey, you all right?" And he says what every single guy says who's not okay. He says, "Yeah, I'm fine." And
fine.
like before that, he's going to therapy. He's trying to figure out what he can do about this. And Gail hit that wall where he's like, "Nope, I can't go over this." And
Mhm.
that's what kind of led to this. I don't want to call it a reconciliation. Maybe this.
Confession.
It
Yeah.
was it was the beginning of a reconciliation, and she says it, you know, she goes on the porch, she goes, I had Seth under control. And he goes, I know you did. But he's doing what a father would do, protect his
Hmm.
daughter. That's all he was trying to do. He's just trying to protect her. And, you know, she's pissed at him for good reason. You know,
Yeah.
she's pissed at him. She knows he lied about the fireflies. He did what he did to Eugene, and she's pissed, and she can't trust him anymore. She lost all faith in him as her father and as a man.
He still even like tries to like butter her up. He's like, "Hey, like, so is like Dina your girlfriend now?" And like Ellie's having trouble with it. She's like, I don't know. That was just a kiss. It didn't mean anything. And then like Joel says like,
But you
"Hey,
like her.
whatever she's doing, like she'd be lucky to have you." And like that's just such a nice thing for him to say. Because obviously he's like accepting of her and what she's doing.
He's looking
And
for a way back in. He's looking for
Right.
a
yeah.
conversation starter, which Anyone with teenagers knows that's so difficult. You don't know what, like, you could say anything and it's God, mom, like, and so, like, good.
He's just trying. He's trying to find the right words to say to try to win his daughter back.
Mhm.
That's all he's trying to do. And he go, he's trying to be nice to her. Oh, but you're a great catch. And she goes, "You asshole. You're an
Yeah.
asshole.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be pissed off at you, and you're not. You're trying to take it away from me. You're trying to take away me being pissed off at you because you fucked up."
Yeah. And then
And
she says, I
she's
knew this
pissed
whole
off at him.
time. I knew this whole time. That same look you gave me about Salt Lake City.
Yep.
And then she starts asking him questions, but he's not answering verbally. He's just nodding
Yeah.
or shaking
Mhm.
his head. And
Yep.
so she said, what did she ask him? I didn't write this
You
part
look.
down.
She goes, "You looked me in the eye and you lied. It was the same face. I
Hmm.
know this. I knew this whole time." She goes, "If you lie to me again, we're done." She goes,
Yes.
"I'm
That's
gonna
it.
ask you questions about Salt Lake City, and if
Hmm.
you lie to me, we are done. Like it. I'm walking away from this
And
whole
I believed
relationship."
her 100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
and
So,
oh my god, Pedro Pascal's acting
Right.
during this scene.
oh
This
yeah,
dude needs an
his
Emmy and a
face,
half, like,
Yeah,
without a
the cr-
single word.
the crying, the quivering, the neck, the jaw clenches, all of it.
he go.
Um,
She goes, "If you lie to me, we're done. Immune people." And Joe's crying, and he goes, "No." He can't even talk. He's just shaking his
Mm-mm.
head. Raiders, no. He goes, "Could they have made a cure?" And then he really starts bawling, and he goes, "Yes." And her whole face, "And you killed him? You killed Marlene, everybody?" And he goes, "Making a cure would have killed you."
and then
Father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, then
I'm not
Right.
then she says, "Then I was supposed to die. That was my purpose. My
Yeah.
life would have mattered, but you took that from me, and you took it from everyone else."
And
And
we've all been thinking the same thing.
do you want to say what he said, or should I keep going?
Go ahead.
Keep going.
He says yes, and I'll pay that price because you're going to turn away from me now. But if somehow I had a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again. And her face, she looks so angry and rageful, and she said, "Because you're selfish." And he's like, "No, because I love you in a way that you can't understand. Maybe you never will. But if that day should come, if you should ever have one of your own, I hope you do a little better than me." And
It's
she said,
crazy.
"I don't think I can forgive you for this, but I would like to try."
Yeah. When he says, "You can do a little better than me," brings you right back to the beginning of the episode.
Exactly.
Full
What
cycle of
his
trauma.
what his dad said. Yep.
What
Mhm.
his dad said. But
What do
Ellie
we think
goes,
about that?
"You took that moment away from me." Ellie just wants to matter. She just wants to matter. She wants to serve a purpose in life. And to her, this was her own only purpose. But what she's not understanding is Joe's only purpose is to be her father and protect her. That's his only purpose. This is why he does the things he did. This is why he said, "I'll do it again." Because guess what? If I'm Joe, I'm doing the same damn thing.
Yeah, I don't think any of us
I'm
are sacrificing our kids.
Mm-mm.
But
I'm not
Not if I
sacrificing
can
my
get
kid.
up, not if I'm
but
still alive.
but at the time, the way she was looking at it is like, I'm not your kid. I was your ward that you got stuck with. And then they grow a bond over all those life threatening trauma bonds. And then he started to look at her as a daughter, but she's like, you took my choice away. You took my autonomy
Yeah.
away. If she had could
And
chose it, she probably would have did the surgery.
yeah, she would have sacrificed herself. I truly believe she would have
So
sacrificed
we
herself
were wrong. We
for the
were wrong.
cure.
We all thought she wouldn't, but
Yeah,
according to her, she would have.
she would have. But Joe's not going to lose another daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can't.
He lost one. he can't
No,
lose another one.
I get it
You know,
totally. Yeah.
and it just it's just a strong message. And she goes, like you said, I would like to try. And then it just breaks down into her heading back to the theater to meet up
Hold on,
with
but that's breaking, like, her finding out that she died about Eugene. That severs trust. And I just had this conversation with my son. Like, you give most people a certain amount of trust, but once trust is broken, like, that is super, super hard to get back, and it may never come back. But she's literally like, I love you. I get why you did it. I still think you're a bastard, but I want to try. And that was the last thing they said to each other, you guys.
Yeah, it's the next day they split up and went separate ways on different
He let her
patrols.
he let her sleep in,
That's what
right?
it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was New Year's Day, January 1st. That's how she started the year, seeing her father died. And
So that was a really beautiful scene.
yeah, very touching, very heartwarming. This was a lot tougher episode than I thought it was going to be, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
Oh
like I'm
yeah,
just thinking, I'm like, there was like no like crazy big action sequence. It was
right.
mostly dialogue, and it was mostly Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, we got to see
And
the progression of their relationship over the
Yeah,
years.
we got the answers. We got the answers to why Gail hates Joel. We got the answer to as far as their relationship, and if she knew or wouldn't, if she would have sacrificed herself or wouldn't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and why their relationship, from what we saw, he died without them having any closure or reconciling. But we find out that they actually did get to reconcile.
Yeah. At least he got it off his chest. At least he didn't die with that secret. At least
yeah.
she got her answers. Because imagine if he would have died and she hadn't, all those years she had to ask him and she didn't ask those questions because she was afraid. She finally, the night before, like, what? Okay. And she got her answers finally.
Uh, it's a
So then
tough
we see
episode.
her. We see her walking towards the hotel where Dina has an arrow in her leg and Jesse's there, that we think they're there. Like,
Yep.
what decision is Ellie gonna make next episode for her potential child?
They are going to war the next episode. They're going to
Well,
be
isn't that
fighting
what
the
he said?
Tatars.
Like, he's like, if you ever have a child, I hope you do better than me. So is she
Exactly.
gonna do the selfish thing?
Ooh.
Or is she
Yeah.
going to make a better decision and leave?
That's a good question.
Wow.
That's how I took it. Like, he literally
That's
was
deep.
like, you will never understand the love I feel for you, because a child cannot understand the love of a parent until they
Mhm.
are
No.
one. And it makes a lot more sense once you grow up and you have kids of your own. You're like, oh my God, I get my parents so much more now.
Yeah.
And I mean, guys, I'm still kind of struggling with the whole Dina, her baby thing. I mean, they've been best friends for a couple years, but they like hooked up one time and like, this is her kid now. Like, I don't know.
She said she only
Now,
kisses at like a 5.
She's like, you're like a 6.
yeah, it's a little. I think they're fast forward in that whole getting to know your part and having a relationship before you can just, hey, we love each other from one day to the next, and we're married and we're having a kid, and
Yeah.
everything's gonna be
that's
great.
that's that's the lesbian way, though. Ask any lesbian, and they call it the U-Haul truck. Like, they date for 2 weeks and then they move in together. Like, it's very
Oh,
accelerated. I don't know why. It's just women. So I guess that tracks.
yo, you find out like what a person is at like 3 a.m. when it's bottle time. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Facts.
You get the baby. No, you get the baby. You're such an asshole. You're an
just get the
asshole.
baby. Just get the
Yeah, or
baby.
you
Don't even
you
ask.
find
Just
out
do it.
what you're made of when you're getting up to do that shit alone.
Yeah,
Wow.
ain't that the truth?
Hmm.
Parenting is great, isn't it, guys?
Hey.
It's soul sucking. Okay, so who's our MVP? for the episode? Do we have one?
Ellie.
Yeah.
No, I gotta give it
Ellie,
to
because she
for
called Joel out in front of Gail.
Mm,
based on acting alone. I gotta give it to Joel. Like not
That's
just
respectable.
that porch scene stole it for me. That porch scene was Emmy award.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about with facial features. She did like a good job in that scene. But if you would have had an actor of his tier going against him, we would have been wrecked by that scene.
That's true.
Yeah, definitely.
But she's not of the same um
The caliber.
caliber, thank you, as he
You're
is.
She's young.
I give it
She's still
to
learning.
Joel. I give it to Joel for that fucking those birthdays. Those birthdays were chef's
Good
kiss.
call.
Beautiful.
Man.
Father's
The
love.
dinosaur, the
The
spaceship,
effort. Like he had to keep all those secrets inside.
the
Like I'm so bad at that
guitar.
with my kids. I'm like, I just want to give them the gift because I can't like wait to see that look on their faces. And yeah,
What a
my son
MVP.
crazy
got
range of
keeping
emotions
secrets.
this episode had. Like
I was like,
by
it's
the
so
time we were
beautiful in the
talking,
beginning.
yeah, we were talking about like this, and like I got like sucked into this, and I completely forgot about the birthday stuff.
All the beauty
Dude,
in the beginning. And Walking Dead does that
Wow.
too. They'll like set you up and like it's all sweet and calm, and you're like, I know something horrible is gonna happen by the end.
yeah. I will say, so I saw this episode when it aired on Sunday. Um, I I don't know where my head was, but I saw it again today, just to recap, make sure my notes were on point. And damn, if this episode didn't hit so much harder today than it
Because
did
you were
yesterday,
really in it. Yeah.
I was really into. I was really, and once I really paid attention to the intro, the first 5 minutes,
Mm,
and I was sucked in because I was just like, "Oh shit, this is my life." Uh,
yeah.
not to that extent, but yeah, that was this episode was
Phenomenal.
phenomenal. It was a great episode, and we only have what 2 more episodes left.
One. That
What's
and
our prediction? One more?
I'm pretty sure we only have one more. But just
Okay.
before I forget, you said intro. Did anyone catch that the 2 people popped up on the intro instead of
I thought that
one?
was there from the beginning though.
No, with the, after Joel died, it was one person popping up
So
at the
one.
end, and then on this episode, it was 2 of them.
Okay.
So it showed Ellie and Joe together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have time. I was rushing to like watch this and
same.
take notes. Taking notes really
Same.
can take you out of the show. I would like to. I just need to do better. I need to watch it on Sundays and not rush on Monday. But
Same.
well done. Well
Final
done.
thoughts. Final
Final
thoughts, guys.
Without a huge
Um,
action set piece, this episode was probably one of the best of the season, if not the show. I hold this up there with the one about the 2 guys from last season. I think
Bill.
Oh,
I
That
think
was
this
my
is on like the
favorite.
same emotional level as that was.
good
It
call.
was a
Good callback.
it was a what's the word? There was a lot of revealing happening. We got to see a lot of complex character drives in this a lot of evolution, like just seeing her as like though she looks the same, but okay, seeing her from 15 16 to 19, I don't, it was touching. And for me, Mike knows this, I don't watch anything unless it's emotionally driven because I'm not going to waste my time watching an action film if it's just blowing shit up. Like I love John Wick for a reason because it's emotionally driven. And this episode was perfect. It was just the writing, the acting, the we got all our answers. They're closing up. They're cutting all the loose ends for the final episode. I think this might be one of my favorite episodes of the season so far.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. It's definitely up there. It was a damn good episode. It definitely brought out emotion and tugged a lot. Yeah, I was very happy with this episode. Very emotional, but very happy, and I enjoyed it all. But before we leave, I want to shout out one of our fans who stopped by here, Baby Gorilla Comics. to say hi, and she was super thrilled about us. She loved you guys. She was like, "Oh my god, you
Hey.
guys are awesome."
Hi.
I'm
Thank
I'm
you.
so sorry I didn't get your name or can't remember your name because I'm old. But yeah, thank you so much. I actually asked her, would you be interested in if we did a podcast for Interview with a Vampire? And she was actually stoked about it. She
Really?
goes,
Oh my
"Oh my
goodness.
god, I would love that. I love that show. Nobody talks about that show."
Nobody talks about it.
No.
Yeah. So hey, I want to talk about it. So let's talk about it.
All
When the
right.
next
All
when
right.
Definitely.
season 3
Thanks for
starts,
stopping in.
us three will be back to talk about Interview with a Vampire. And that will be considered G&T After Dark.
A little
Yes,
bit.
I love that.
But yeah, we'll definitely be setting up for Interview with a Vampire. I think that would be a good show. But with that being said, I just want to thank everybody for joining us, for the love, for the support. Keep sharing, keep following, keep liking, keep subscribing. Follow us on Instagram, uh, Facebook, TikTok at Baby Gorilla Comics, at Geeks at the Nerd Table, at Honey and Hellfire, at Not One Cent Boat. Um, that's all our handles, guys. So please share, love, keep supporting, and we appreciate you. So with that being said, thank you very much, and we'll see you for the final episode next week. It's gonna be a hard one, guys. So
It
sad.
is.
I can't believe it's coming to an end. But thank you guys. See you next week.
Adios.
Bye.